We've heard earlier in this newscast the focus is on Florida as we approach the final week of campaign. Senator John McCain's campaign is planning 6 events in 12 states, 12 hours. Many analysts say Florida is a must-win for him. In fact, it really is if you do the math. Senator Barack Obama also working to woo those voters. He held events in several Florida cities earlier in the week. Right now, according to the polls, Senator Obama leads in that state with nearly 48%. Well, 47.6 to 46.6. Look at that. It's a dead heat, period. That's according to the average of polls by realclearpolitics.com. And that's what we like to use because it averages the polls over a number of days. Back to our panel now. Republican consultant Megan Ortegas and Democratic consultant and former Bill Clinton pollster Bernard Whitman. Megan, Florida is, I mean, people who want to say Florida is lost are crazy. I mean, this thing, that's a dead heat if there ever was a dead heat.
Well, listen, Shepard, as a Floridian, I can tell you I know a lot about Florida politics. I'm really encouraged by what John McCain is doing today by taking these 6 stops around the state of Florida. I think at the end of the day, Florida is going to vote for John McCain. The reason that I believe this is because the Florida GOP Get Out the Vote operation, it's a mature operation. It's sophisticated. Although the McCain campaign may not have the amount of money that Obama does to go up on ads, Florida knows how to get the vote out. They've been tested in 2000 and 2004, and at the end of the day, they also have a very popular Republican governor, Charlie Crist, who's campaigning on behalf of Senator McCain. So I think you're going to see Florida go John McCain's way, but it's certainly going to be a fight until the end. You
know, it's interesting you said that. I want to stick with you for just a second if we could, because Charlie Crist, he's very much out there, very much supporting him and all that. But they are saying that they're now going to withhold at least $2 million of state money, state GOP money, for the 2010 election cycle. Now, Floridians know that's when Charlie Crist is up for re-election. And that $2 million, a lot of analysts in Florida are saying, man, that could really hurt, especially in the Florida Panhandle, which he absolutely has to have turn out, Megan. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, listen, I would love to see that $2 million go into this election cycle. Charlie is a prolific fundraiser. Governor Crist, I should say, is a prolific fundraiser, and I certainly think he's going to be in a great position to win re-election in 2010. So, you know, if it was my choice, I would certainly make sure that we put that money in now, but it's not, and so we're going to have to trust the judgment of our governor and knowing that he's going to get the vote out for Senator McCain in the end.
Bernard, since we're talking about Florida, and we all know how important Florida is, there are really 3 Floridas. One Florida is South Florida, what outside observers would call Southeast Florida, which is very Democratic, especially now that the Cuban vote isn't as important as it used to be, or large as it used to be, relatively speaking. There's the I-4 corridor, which kind of, you know, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then there's the Panhandle, which has a lot of military and is very, very Republican. But Bernard, I'm hearing from people on your side that there are questions about how energized that particular part of Florida may be.
Well, I mean, look, you've got a military that has been stretched absolutely to the breaking point, and John McCain didn't even come out in support of the campaign for a new GI Bill. So I think the military is taking a long, hard look, and our men and women in uniform and their families are taking a very close look at Barack Obama because they want their families home. They want to change the situation in Iraq. And I got to tell you, Shep, when I hear things like Crist is going to withhold $2 million, that is almost waving the white flag. If I were John McCain, I understand why he's got a barnstorm around the state, but he cannot afford to spend entire days in one state. Your report just before the break shows he's got to defend North Dakota, he's got to defend Indiana, he's got to defend Georgia. And the truth of the matter is, Shep, in this election, we all thought it would come down to Florida or Ohio. I believe it's going to come down to Virginia, and the fact that he has got to spend so much time defending what should be his really speaks volumes about where this campaign is.
Megan, Virginia has changed a lot in recent years. There are a lot of new people who've moved into Virginia, and the landscape in that state has changed. That said, it'd be hard to imagine doing this without Virginia, wouldn't it?
No, you're absolutely right. I would like to address one point that our commentator on the other side said a few minutes ago. As far as the military vote in Florida, there's an Army Times poll that just came out recently and actually refutes everything that our Democratic friends said. The military overwhelmingly is voting in favor of John McCain. I can tell you, John McCain lived in Pensacola on the base there, and The military absolutely loves John McCain in Florida, and there's no polling to indicate that they're going to go Barack Obama's way. As far as Virginia, moving from one swing state, Florida, to another, I'm a Northern Virginia resident now, and yeah, you know, the demographics of Virginia have changed a lot as well. I think we still have a strong opportunity in this state. It's just going to take a lot of fighting from John McCain, and again, this message of Joe the plumber and redistribution of wealth, he's going to have to preach it all over Virginia, and I think it's going to work.
Megan, Bernard, thank you both. She mentioned the Military Times. That's a newspaper poll. And sure enough, it was big in favor of John McCain. Not a scientific poll, but very rare. There are questions about how old the sample is and all that. At any rate, there's a long road to go. 12 long days, and we're all home free. We'll be right back.